Hey Pod Squad, welcome back to another episode of How Did I Miss This? With yours truly, me, Megan. I hope everyone's doing great. This is the first podcast back, so let's just get right into it because I'm so excited for this one. We are going to talk about the very anticipated Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Guys, this movie is so good. I love it so much. And I actually have something that I wanted to show the people who are watching this on YouTube. I know some people just listen to my podcast on Spotify or iHeartRadio or whatever you guys are listening to my podcast on. I know that you won't be able to see this. First of all, thank you for listening. Love that you listen. Thank you for coming back. But I'm sorry you won't be able to see this because I have a really cool Terminator 2 Judgment Day head that I am holding up right now. It's like a replica of the Terminator machine head, and it's fantastic. Shout out to my friend Justin who owns this. And loves Terminator 2 so much that he has this and he let me borrow it. And it just looks really cool, you guys. Like, it's like I'm looking at Machine Arnold's head and it's glorious. And it does say Terminator 2 Judgment Day on it, so that's kind of why I'm showing this off right now. I wish I had this for my reaction video. I didn't know he had it, but I have it now, so it's pretty cool. For anyone who's just listening, you can check this out on the YouTube channel. I also post my podcast there, so you can totally check this out because it's so cool. And I don't know if you guys remember, but in my first review of the Terminator 1 movie, I was freaked out because when he turned to like just a machine, it looked like he had human teeth. And this thing has human teeth. So I was right. Somebody came for me and was like, it's not human teeth. And I was like, it definitely is. And this replica proves it. Like, it definitely is some human teeth and it's creepy. In the spirit of Terminator 2 Judgment Day review, we are joined by my little friend here. Anyway, let's get on with the review. So Terminator 2 Judgment Day. First of all, just wow, what a movie. We're going to get into my feelings in just a minute, but let's go over some of the really cool things and basics of the film. It is another James Cameron movie. I don't know why I was shocked. I think that for me, I expect that not every sequel is directed by the original director, but it's really cool that he did this one. And you can tell this is where James Cameron got money. He started getting money because the budget for this movie was wildly more expensive, and you could tell. It was very clear that he got more money for this. The cast, I mean, listen, we've got a lot of returning people, but some new faces. So we've got our man of the hour, Arnold Schwarzenegger, returning as the Terminator, and it was fantastic. We're going to talk about my feelings about it. We have Linda Hamilton again as Sarah Connor. Sarah Connor now is a mom, and she has a son, John Connor, if you haven't heard of him. And he is played by the lovely Edward Furlong. He plays a teenage version of John Connors, and it's awesome. We also have another Terminator coming to the stage. His name is Robert Patrick. Now, I knew that I knew Robert Patrick from some other things, and to this moment, I don't know what they are. I feel like I've seen him in so many things, but whatever. I know his face. He has a good villain face, and he's a great villain in this movie. We have Joe Morton, who plays Miles Bennett. He is the guy who pretty much creates Skynet. Shame on him, but he was great in this movie. We also have, it was confirmed, there was a SWAT guy, a SWAT leader or whatever, in a part of the movie, and I was like, is that Hank from Breaking Bad? Sure is. I'm looking at it right now. Dean Norris is in this movie. Love it. He's fantastic. If you haven't watched Breaking Bad, you guys, please go do yourself a favor and watch Breaking Bad. It's so good. We have Linda Hamilton's twin sister, which that was a fun fact of mine to like share. I did not know she was a twin. We have Leslie Hamilton in this movie, and her character name is literally Twin Sarah. I mean, I thought that they just took her and filmed her twice in one shot. That's how good the shot was, and that's how much alike they look. Because I did not know she was a twin until after the fact. We have the wonderful Dr. Peter, who is played by Earl Bowen in this movie. He returns again. I'm not going to name everybody, but who else do we have? Ooh, we had Epitha Merkerson. Is that how you pronounce her name? I know who she is. I've never said her name out loud. She plays Joe Morton's wife. Yeah, it's a big cast, lots of people, but those are our main people. And I love all of them. Every single person in this movie was fantastic. fantastic. I was here for it every second. This movie, though, was made and released in 1991. However, took me for a freaking loop because the movie was actually set in 1995. So even though it was made in 91, the film itself was set in 95, which I was like, wait, what? I was very confused, but then it all made sense at the end. So that was fun. Music, same as last time. I can't remember the name of the person who did it, and I couldn't find it for this time. Sorry, guys. But I said it in the last review for the first movie. I will say, though, I'm pretty sure in the first movie, the music did not hit for me as well. Like, I mean, the Terminator song was, like, fine. But, like, this movie, ooh, it had me going. It, like, pumped my blood. It was really good. I feel like they amplified the Terminator song and just made it, like, dun, 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 dun. It was just, like, really good. I really enjoyed it. So, shout out to the music. So here we go, you guys. We are back with Sarah Connors, and she has given birth to the infamous John Connors, and now her role in this war with the machines is like in full mode. She has all this information from the first movie, you know, she knows what the war is, she knows when it's gonna happen, she knows like what happens, and she knows that her son is like the guy who saves everyone in the world. So she has this huge responsibility to like protect her son at all costs, which I totally get through this movie. I actually didn't expect this. I don't know why I didn't expect it, because, you know, when you start telling people your story, I guess they're all gonna think you're crazy. But we find Sarah in a psych ward. It's kind of like she's been telling people her story, and that's where the doctor from the first movie comes to play again, because he's been following her case all these years about her story about these Terminator guys who came back from the future to kill her and her son. It's like a whole thing. Baby John Connors, that's what I pretty much called him the whole time in my live reaction review. Baby John Connors is like a teenager and a pretty angsty one, but I get it. He doesn't even know if his mom is really telling the truth. He didn't live through that shit. He's just going based off of his mom's word, you know? So we've got baby John Connors in a foster home. He just like is super angsty. He's super angsty. He's just like, fuck everyone. I'm gonna go do my own thing and run my own life. And I'm like, okay. It's like every teenager, I guess. It's actually pretty fun to see because he doesn't know what his mom went through. So it's nice to see kind of him even questioning, like, my mom's crazy, you know? Like, he doesn't even really believe her. But then we get naked Arnold again. And I was very happy about it, you guys. Even though we didn't see any butt, I was okay with it. We see the Terminator himself, Arnold, come back. And he's all like, I'm back. He said he'll be back, and he came back. The cool thing is that we haven't seen him since the first movie. So upon seeing him, we're like, ah, shit, it's about to go down. We have the Terminator. He's back. They gave him the same look, which was an interesting choice, because you're just like, why would they make him look the exact same? Probably for audience purposes, right? So we're thinking like, he's back. He's going to kill John. He's going to kill Sarah. Machines win. Done. Wrong. Arnold comes back and he's good. He's a good Terminator, and I loved it so much. I will say that there was one corny moment in the movie that I really did not like. Again, it's about music choices, people, because music really plays a part in these movies that we watch, and I was not here for this moment. We see Arnold Terminator come back, and he goes to this bar because he needs clothes because he's naked, and he comes across this biker, and I guess he was programmed to remember the look he had from the first movie. So he comes up to this biker and he's like, I need your clothes now. And the guy's like, no, they're mine, and we're about to fight. So then there's a huge bar fight. It was pretty intense because like he threw this guy onto a freaking like grill skillet, and he's like, like freaking out and burning himself. And I'm like, ooh, that sucks. He's getting into this bar fight. He eventually gets the clothes because, I mean, he's Arnold Terminator. What are you gonna do? Say no? No, we don't say no to Arnold Terminator. So he gets the clothes, and then he takes a step outside the bar, and the music goes from like really cool action fight bar scene music to Bad to the Bone. Guys, I love the song Bad to the Bone. I really do. When you hear that, but in this particular moment, it made it so corny. And I did not like it. I'm sorry for people who may like that moment. I most certainly did not. It took me out of the badass moment that just happened. I didn't like it at all. Sorry. Then we fast forward a little bit to find out, again, we're like, this is bad Arnold. We still don't know that he's good yet. So we're like, oh my God, what is happening? And then we find out there's another Terminator that they sent. And I'm just sitting here, again, I knew absolutely nothing about this movie, as I do for most movies. But most movies I've maybe seen a clip, or I know who's in it, or I've heard a little bit about it. This one, I knew nothing. I didn't even know Arnold came back. Surprise for me. I didn't expect him to be good. So they sent another Terminator back. I'm like, damn, these machines are stepping up their game. They sent 2 Terminators. What? Little disappointed, by the way, side note, that we got to see this Terminator's butt and not Arnold's butt, because Arnold has a better butt. Just gonna throw that out there. This second Terminator, again, is played by Robert Patrick. And let me tell you something. These machines upped their game, because this Terminator is made out of some really fancy liquid metal. First of all, how do you defeat liquid metal? We'll get to it because it happens. When I first saw him, I was just like, oh shit, we just upped our game, Skynet. So now we've got 2 Terminators on scene. We don't know why there's 2. We don't know that Arnold is good yet. So the new Terminator is dressed as a cop, which is smart. Why would you not do that? No one's gonna question him. And he's a lot calmer. At first, he's a lot calmer. Let me clarify that. Because he's asking questions. Hey, do you know John Connors? Oh, you're his foster parents? Do you have a picture of him? Sure, officer. No one's gonna fucking question it. Whereas first movie Terminator, we just have Arnold, who's get out of my way. I have to find Sarah Connors, and I have to shoot all the Sarah Connors that I find in the yellow pages. He was just bam, bam, bam. This new Terminator was definitely very subtle at first, until he got a hold of John Connors, and then he just got crazy. So we have this Terminator looking for John Connors at an arcade. This is one of my favorite little gems in the movie. The cop Terminator comes along, and he comes up to John Connors' friend. He doesn't know that it's his friend, but he goes, hey kid, have you seen this kid in this picture that I have? And his friend's like, nah man, never seen him. And I was like, yo, that's true friendship right there. Because then the kid kind of scurries away a little bit and goes up to John. He's like, John, there's a cop looking for you, man. Just get out of here. Go. I'll cover for you. And I'm like, yes, that's Goonies friendship level right there. And then we never see the friend again, which is kind of sad. But I was there for that little gem of a moment. So now John's running out of the arcade. We've got cop Terminator locking eyes on him. This is where he starts getting impolite. He pushes kids out the way, and he's like, there's my target. I gotta go. So he's going. Then Arnold Terminator rolls up on his bike like he does. And we're like, oh no, John Connors is fucked, because he's got 2 Terminators coming in on both directions. And then, surprise, he runs into Arnold, and John Connors no, and Arnold is get down. So John Connors drops, and then he shoots at the bad Terminator, and I'm like, what? Good Arnold. I was so happy to see a world where Arnold Terminator is good. It was so cool. I loved this element of this movie so much. This is very much Goonies vibes right now. If you haven't seen my review for the Goonies, basically I loved the friendship between Chunk and, what was his name? Chunk and Sloth? Was it Sloth? I'm going to just say it's Sloth. Chunk and Sloth, right? Their friendship in the Goonies made me incredibly happy. It's the same kind of friendship with John Connors and this Terminator. It's just so pure, so good, and I loved it so much. I mean, we'll talk about the very iconic moment at the end, but whoever gave James Cameron permission to make me emotional from a movie like The Terminator, I know I didn't give him permission, but it happened. Tears were bubbling in my eyeballs because of this friendship. It was just a chef's kiss. So we come to find out that future John Connors has gotten a hold of a Terminator and I guess rewired him to be good. And John Connors sent this Terminator back. With movies like this, I guess you can't think too hard. But my thought process is maybe he got a hold of what the first Terminator looked like in the first movie. And that's why they had Arnold, look like Arnold in the first movie. And let me tell you, when Sarah sees him, when we come across Sarah Connors seeing Arnold Terminator for the first time in this movie, let's just talk about it. Sarah is in the psych ward. Nobody believes her. She's been trying to escape. She's trying to get to her son to protect him, right? But they won't even let her call him, see him, nothing. Also, super grimy moment that I have to talk about. The ward guy who locks the doors or whatever licks her face at one point and it's gross. Ew, I hated it. Ugh. Which is why when she breaks free out of her little bed and beats his ass, I'm like, you got what you deserved, bud. You're a disgusting human and you deserved more than what she did to you. It was gross. But anyway, Sarah breaks out and she's running through the psych ward, doing her thing, trying to break free. You know that she means business because that hair went up in a pony real quick. She had that ponytail snatched and was ready for battle. So she's breaking out, she's got the doctor held hostage with a needle in his neck with some kind of liquid that's obviously poison. And she's like, open the door, he dies. And opens the door. She's breaking out. She gets to the elevator and Terminator Arnold walks out and she's like, no. It was kind of funny knowing that he's good now. You're like, no, Sarah, calm down. It's okay. But this woman had 12 heart attacks in 30 seconds. She was mortified. And I don't blame her. I mean, look what she went through in the first movie. So she's running away now. And then John Connor's like, no, Mom, wait, it's okay. Meanwhile, all these doctors pile on Sarah. And Terminator Arnold's like, John, stay here. I got this. All these doctors are on top of Sarah trying to calm her down and restrain her and this and that. And none of them see Terminator Arnold walking towards them because he just starts picking people up and throwing them and doing all this. Oh, I should mention earlier when we learned that John Connors sent the Terminator back from the future to baby John Connors. Baby John Connors was like, yo, Terminator guy, cool, you have to listen to me and everything I tell you, right? No killing people. We're not killing people. That's bad. And he was like, why? That was one of my favorite sequences. He's like, why? And John's like, just because we don't kill people. He's like, but why? I mean, his name is Terminator. It's what he does. He's there to terminate. He listens to John Connors and is like, fine, I won't kill people. I'm just gonna shoot them in the kneecap everywhere we go. And it was so good. Arnold shooting people in the kneecaps in order to avoid killing them is such a good move. I was so happy about it. So when he's throwing all these doctors off of Sarah, Sarah's like, wait, what the fuck? Why is he saving me right now? And then you've got John being like, Mom, it's me. Look at me. I'm here. Come back to reality. Snap, snap. Let's go. She quickly accepts the fact that this Terminator is good and is here to protect John. It happens pretty quickly. I did not expect it to happen that quickly, but it definitely was a quick turnaround for Sarah. The cool part in this particular moment in the hospital was that, Arnold's throwing everybody around, except for the doctor that we see from the first movie who's in the second movie as well. And he witnesses, okay, after telling everybody that Sarah's been crazy for however many years has passed. So the second Terminator, bad Terminator cop guy, comes through the hospital because he's super smart and walks through the bars because he's liquid metal and can do whatever the fuck he wants. So he walks through the jail and the doctor sees this and he's like, oh shit. And I'm like, yeah, she's not crazy, doctor asshole. The creepy thing also with this liquid metal Terminator guy, so I guess his thing is he can turn into a living being if he touches them or comes into contact with them in some way. So this creep melted into the pattern of the floor of the hospital at one point, and then a security guard steps on the floor because he's walking, and then the liquid Terminator guy was able to turn into him and turn his arm into a sword, and it just went slink through the guy's face. What? His abilities are wild, especially coming from like the 80s. Like, how do you one up this full-bodied robot Terminator that you clearly cannot kill in one shot? Well, you take the metal, you make it liquid metal, and that's how we one up our game. That's what Skynet said. They were like, Megan, we'll show you exactly how we won up our game. And I was like, okay. I was here for it, you know? He gets to just like morphs his arms into like crowbars and swords. It's crazy. Because he also killed John Connor's foster parents. And he just like reaches his arm and you just hear this slink. And it's just like, okay, you mean business. The cool thing also, the juxtaposition of the Terminators being in the same place, but on different sides. Arnold's like, don't do this because that's what I would do. Or don't go there because that's what I would do if I was hunting you. Like, they have like the same brain. Like, there's this whole like phone conversation they have where they're both disguising voices and Arnold tricks him. It's like a whole thing, but it was really cool. I liked it. I like seeing two Terminators on both sides of the story, which was like really cool. Okay, so now we've got Sarah out of the psych ward. She's reunited with John, which is what she's wanted this whole time. She's now accepted the fact that this Terminator, who definitely tried to kill her in the first one, is good. So she's like processing so much. Here's where I start having problems with Sarah Connors. It was funny because after I watched the movie, I gotta tell you guys, like, I was almost like hypnotized in a really cool, numb way after watching this movie. I like went upstairs and my boyfriend Ben's standing there and he's like, what did you think? And I was like, wow. I was so overcome with like joy with this movie. It was so good. I just remember we were sitting down and he was just like, yeah, but baby John Connors he's such an asshole and this and that. And I was like, I viewed it differently. And please feel free to like talk about this in the comments, like how you feel about this, because, you know, Ben had the impression that baby John Connors is this like angsty teen and just kind of an asshole and like doing his own thing. Whereas my takeaway, honestly, and it all started from this car ride after they rescued Sarah from the psych ward, is that Sarah's kind of the asshole. And like, but with good reason. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying she's like an asshole for no reason. She's an asshole with reason. Like, again, like I said earlier, she's got the fate of the world on her shoulders, literally, because she's got to save herself. She's got to protect her son, who grows up into this general who saves the world. Meanwhile, she knows the death date of everybody and when the war actually begins, and it's in like a couple of months from now, and she's like freaking out. I totally get it. But like, pump the brakes a little, Sarah, because your kid just saved you from the psych ward and is explaining to you what's going on and how he believes you. And she doesn't even say thank you. She's just like, John, that was really stupid of you to come save me. You can't do that. And then you got John Connors, who's like 12 years old, crying in the back of the seat, you know, a back seat of the car. And even Arnold's like, what's wrong with your eyes? Because he doesn't know. He's a machine. But, you know, he's learning like about all of these human emotions and like how humans work and why we do the things that we do as robots do, which is why they're dangerous. Just putting that out there again. Robots, I am not a fan of, except for Terminator 2 Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's it. Sarah's just like, and I get it, she's got a lot going on in her mind and she keeps having these dreams of doomsday, let's pretty much call it, right? Because she knows that like, I think it's like August 7th or August 4th, sometime early August is when Skynet goes berserk and like extinguishes humanity with like this blast of fire and it just like burns everybody. This is what Sarah knows is going to happen. And it's like soon. So I get it. I get why she's like on edge with everything. But she pushed her son away too much for me to be like, John Connors is an asshole teenager. No, Sarah Connors is just kind of like being a dick mom right now. Again, with reason. It was nice to see her later on soften up a little bit. Can't remember the exact moment. I have a feeling that it was in the elevator. They make it to like where Skynet is created. We'll get to that in a second. I'll backtrack. back. But I think she like has this moment with John where she tells him she loves him, or it could be at the professor's house. Either way, she kind of tells him she loves him in a very good way. And that's when I'm like, that's what we need, Sarah. It's okay to freak out about everything that you have to freak out about, but like tell your son you love him. That's okay too. You can say I love you to your kid every once in a while, you know? But I digress, as I usually do. I have to make this point. In the first movie, I kept saying, why don't we go to the guy who created Skynet and tell him to not do it? I said that like the whole first movie. And I've got Ben telling me and all my other friends telling me like, yeah, they should do that. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, you agreed because you knew that's what they were going to do in this movie. Whatever. I didn't know. So Sarah Connors has this thought to go to the guy who created Skynet. I'm so bad with names again. Miles Bennett. He's the guy. He creates Skynet from this chip. I guess it's like a broken chip, but he's been studying it like his whole life. It's his life's work. We see the robot hand that he created, and so he knows what that is, which was really important because when Sarah goes rogue for a hot second. They make it, I want to say south of I don't know if they cross into Mexico at this point. They're just somewhere south where it's sandy and desert-like. They come to this little place where she's got some friends and guns galore, because this is also what we find out John has grown up with. He has grown up with military Sarah Connors, who's been dealing with guns and bombs and this and that, and he just grew up with that, which is kind of sad. But knowing the bigger picture, it's well, I mean, this is why your mom did what she did, was to prepare you to take down Skynet. They're in this place where they're stocking up on guns, and Arnold Terminator is really happy because he finds this gun, and the smirk he gets was hysterical. Pause. We are going to talk about Arnold for a second. Arnold as an actor has a lot of classic lines, like I'll be back. He also has another one, Hasta La Vista, baby. I've known this and have heard of this line since I was a kid. Did I know that it came from this movie? Absolutely not. I had no idea that Hasta La Vista, baby came from this movie. And when he said it, my mind was blown. I was like, what did you just say? I was blown, absolutely blown. Had no idea that that's where he said that famous line. But here we are. Some of the most famous lines that Arnold is known for are from the first two huge action movies he was a part of. Who knew? I didn't. So again, we've got Terminator, Arnold with baby John Connors and Sarah. And then Sarah takes off. She's got her guns. She is strapped, man. Let me tell you something. When we first see her in the psych ward, she's doing pull-ups. This girl is not the same girl that we left in the first movie. She is gone. She is about war. She is about protecting her own and humanity. She is strapped for war. This girl comes out with her army cap on, her shades on. She's got grenades and she's got guns. She's ready. She's ready. But she gets in the car and takes off, and John's like, Mom, where are you going? What's going on? But she doesn't say nothing because she hasn't said I love you yet, so she's not in her feelings right now. She's just in go, go, go mode. Arnold and John are creating this really awesome bond. Sarah sees that and is like, John is protected by this guy, so I'm going to go do what I got to go do. And John Connors, being who he is, was like, no, I got to go protect my mom. And then he put two and two together. Oh, she's going for Miles. Let's go after her. So they go, and Sarah is there and starts shooting up this guy's house. She takes the first shot and misses because he bends down and shoots the computer. But then obviously, it's oh shit, someone's shooting at me. So then she just goes nuts and she's just taking out his office. He's yelling at his kid, go, run, run. His wife is oh my God, what is going on? It's a whole thing. But Sarah is going buck wild with the shooting and just And then when it comes down to actually taking him out, because she's standing over him with a gun to his face. And I think she shot him in the shoulder at this point too. And she can't find it in her to take this guy out. Probably because his family is also right next to him. And his kid, good on for his kid. What a brave kid. Because he jumped on top and he was don't kill my dad. I'm oh my God, this is so dramatic. But Sarah does not shoot him. John Connors and Arnold Terminator come in and kind of like calm the situation down. And this is where his metal hand comes into play. John looks at him and goes, show him. So Arnold's like cutting his skin, which again, it's just creepy that these Terminators like have blood in their like flesh because it looks gross, but you're remembering like, oh, you're just a machine. Like, this does not affect you. So he's cutting this flesh off of his arm. He rips his skin off and he shows Miles his hand. And Miles is like, what? So then we sit down. They're telling him like what's going to happen, like what he's done. And the cool one aspect of the movie that I actually really liked was Sarah narrating moments of the movie, because it was nice to not have to play it out, you know, like the conversation of telling this guy what he has done. It was just this, it was like there's moments in the movie where Sarah Connors is narrating what is going on, what the feeling should be and stuff like that. And it wasn't through the whole movie, it was just moments. And I kind of liked that. It was like strategically done and I appreciated that. Good job, James Cameron. In this moment, you know, Sarah's narrating that they're telling the doctor like what he's going to do, how bad it is, the lives he's caught, like it's like a whole thing. And then he's, again, really easy to like, okay, I believe you. I mean, I think it's the hand thing. But yeah, they come to the decision that they have to destroy all his work and the chip and everything. They have to blow it all up because it's not even just that he can't create Skynet and like go forward with his work. They don't want anybody to take that information and move forward with it later on. So the plan now is to go to this guy's office, blow that shit up and destroy all evidence of everything. And he's on board with it. He's like, no, let's do it. I can't kill 300 billion people. So they go to the place, and this is where, again, things start to get crazy again, because it's kind of been a little bit of like a quiet moment up until now. We get to the place, they're setting up bombs in the office. We actually haven't seen Liquid Metal Terminator until now. Like, he was kind of like, gave him a break for a little bit to focus on Sarah Connor. Now that we're gonna blow some shit up, he's back. They blow up the office. And this is where I saw Hank from Breaking Bad. Basically, all the cops, all the SWAT, all the people are coming to the scene to help diffuse whatever situation is going on. They only make it worse. This is also an awesome moment where Arnold keeps his promise of not killing anybody, but just shoots everybody in the kneecap. And it's awesome. I'm like sitting here and I'm like, nobody's dying. It's okay. Just go get knee surgery. You'll be fine. It's just so funny to me that like but it's the best way to keep his promise to John. And I'm here for it. So SWAT shows up as they're like getting ready to like blow everything up, of course. What was really kind of sad was, and sad and just like bummer. The Miles, what is he, a doctor or a scientist? Like, what is his title? I don't even know. Anyway, Miles Bennett, Sarah Connor shot him in the shoulder earlier at the house. Now, as he's getting ready to blow shit up for a good cause, SWAT comes in and lays thick with the shooting on this poor guy, and he's like, he falls, and he's getting ready, and he's got the detonator in his hand, and he's holding on to it as SWAT is approaching him, because Sarah obviously gets away. Wait, Sarah gets away though, because Arnold had a full-blown Kool-Aid Man moment. And if you don't know what I'm talking about when I mean Kool-Aid Man, then go back to the 90s and watch every Kool-Aid commercial you can find, or watch Family Guy making fun of him. It's hysterical. But Arnold just busts through the wall, like just total Kool-Aid form, and him, Sarah, and John run away. Poor Miles is holding onto the detonator, and SWAT comes up, and he's like, I don't know how much I can hold this any longer. Y'all better run. So they run, and then he dies. Miles dies. You know, what a rough day. He gets told that he is the reason why the world is in crazy chaos and destruction, and it's because of him. Then he tries to correct the situation, and then gets shot the fuck up. And I'm like, oh, damn, that's unfortunate. So he dies, and as he dies, he releases the grip of the detonator, and then everything explodes. All his work, minus the hand and the chip, because John actually has the hand and the chip. Everything else is destroyed. Then we've got Arnold, John, and Sarah running now from liquid metal cop Terminator and got into a SWAT van, and they drive off, and they're driving down the highway as they do, going to, I don't even know where the plan was to go. I don't think there was a plan. It was to literally just drive. So they're driving. Liquid metal Terminator guy is after them in a helicopter, though. This is where we know James Cameron got the budget for this movie, guys, because there's a helicopter chase in this movie. He's going after, the three of them. Arnold's doing his thing where he's just like, oh no, I'm going to shoot my metal friend here. He somehow, there's a lot of vehicle switching in these chases, I find, because Arnold, Sarah, and John flip out of the, SWAT car. They flip out of it, and then they take some guy's random little van, which is not very fast, but they get into that and bolt. Liquid metal guy is in a helicopter that gets blown up, and now he's in a truck with liquid nitrogen. Okay? Yeah, see where I'm going with this, don't you? Then starts chasing them. We get to this factory that I think it's I don't even know what kind of factory it was. But anyway, this factory had a lot of I can only think of the word lava right now. We're going to call it lava. It's fiery, liquid. Lava. That's what it is. Hot magma. And so we're in this factory that has all this lava that's in little, spaces. Liquid metal Terminator. Oh god, I gotta find a better name for these people. I know that they have actual names, you guys, but I don't have time to remember them, so I go based off description. Do not come for me. So we've got liquid metal Terminator. He bolts through this factory, and the liquid nitrogen starts to spill out of the truck that he was driving. This causes him to start freezing and kind of die. And I was like, oh, science for the win, chemistry. So he's now frozen. Arnold is like, hasta la vista, baby, and shoots him into all these pieces, and it's great. And I'm like, yes, we won, we did it. Where do we go from here? Bam, bam, bam. Yeah, no, because then the heat of the lava that's from this factory starts to make its way to the pieces of metal that are now scattered everywhere, and it starts to reheat them. So he starts to reform, because that's what liquid metal does, I guess. And he comes back to life. Now we're in a chase scene again, very much mirroring the first movie at the end when it was Sarah and Kyle Reese, running from the Terminator in the first movie, and they're in that metal factory. Very much duality going on right there, right? With the whole samesies in this situation. We've got Sarah trying to protect John, and she's just like, go, go, go. Do not come for me for any reason. Just go and hide and do your thing. And this is actually where her twin comes into play, because there's a moment where Sarah's down for a second because she's shot in the leg, and so she's on her last little limpy struggle here, and the liquid Terminator turns into Sarah Connors and starts calling for John, and she's like, John, come to mommy, John. John comes running, but as he approaches, he sees his mom, real Sarah, come up right behind that Terminator, and he books it because he's not an idiot. And that's where the Hamilton sisters are on screen for the first time. And honestly, if you didn't know that she was a twin, you could not tell. You could not tell that they were two different people. They are real twins. So then, they're shooting at the liquid metal Terminator, which is kind of fun to watch throughout this movie, because as he gets shot, the bullets create splats of metal on his body. And at first you're like, what is that? And it's just his metal getting shot at. It's kind of cool. It was a really cool thing to watch. But Arnold comes through. Oh, wait, hold on. We got to talk about this part. I forgot. Arnold and liquid metal Terminator are fighting. So we've got 80s fighting the 90s. That is what is happening in this scene. And liquid metal Terminator wins. He stabs Arnold Terminator in the back does this twisty thing, which you just see the red light in Arnold's eye go out. And it's very sad. You're like, no. But I don't know how he did it. He reboots himself, as Terminators do, and he keeps going. He keeps like fighting to save John. Like that's like his main mission, is just to protect John Connor. So he's like going, and then he's like on this like really big metal thing that's like turning. He's laying on his stomach and, you know, has the gun ready, and then he shoots the metal guy with I don't know what, because it was definitely something big, because this like splat the liquid metal Terminator into this like weird Picasso looking structure. And he was like very alien, by the way, because he was like screeching like sounded like an alien. It was really weird. But basically they push, or he falls, can't remember, into the hot lava pit of fire behind him, and he melts away, and that's how he dies. Really cool, actually. And then we've got Arnold Terminator, Sarah Connors, and John Connors watching this guy just melt away and feeling all the relief in the world. And then John's like, hey, I've got the hand. Will this melt? And Arnold's like, yeah, throw it in. So he throws it in, and then he's like, the chip too, throws in the chip, and I'm like, yes, Skynet is defeated. Nope. I was wrong, because Terminator Arnold, who we have now come to love on so many different levels, comes forward and says, there's one more chip that you have to get rid of, and it's in my head. And I am like, no, James Cameron, I'm not having it. Nope. We're not doing this. We're not killing good Arnold. That's not happening. But it happens, and I was very emotional about it. So sad. John Connor's like, no, I demand you can't leave. And he's like, John, it's okay. I know why you cry now. I know why humans do what they do. It was just such an emotional moment. So he tells Sarah, like, you have to lower me in because I cannot self-destruct. But he hops onto like this chain thing. Sarah presses the down button, and we slowly watch the Terminator die and sacrifice himself. And he's, looking up at John. John's looking down at him like the whole time. And I'm like, stop looking at each other. It's making it worse. But they look at each other, and the last thing that this machine does, which brought me, and I'm sure all of you when you watched it, to tears, he gives John a thumbs up as he is lowered into the lava magma. And it's so sad. I don't know who gave them permission to make this movie so emotional at the end, but they did it. They absolutely did it. So he gives a thumbs up as he's like taking his last moment, and then it's over. John and Sarah are now pretty much heading into the future that is unknown now, because they're hoping that they have done enough to have changed what was, what the future was. So, because they've destroyed everything. To me, that was a clear ending. It was. I mean, clear ending in the sense of they destroyed everything. So now it's just like, oh, they could make more movies and like see like how they did, but they don't need to. It's not needed. Now, do I know that there's other Terminator movies? Yes. Do I know that Skynet is around after this? Yes. I know lots of things about different other movies. Like, I know that Terminator 3, a lot of people are not a fan of because it mirrors the second one a lot. I guess it completely undermines what was done in this movie, and there's something that isn't destroyed, whatever. I know that there's stuff to look forward to. I don't think I'm gonna watch those and like review them individually. Maybe I'll watch them all and collectively do a review about them and my thoughts about how they undermined what just happened in the second one. Listen, the second one ended perfectly for me. It left it enough open for you to kind of create the future that you want for Sarah and John, but you confidently feel that they destroyed Skynet and prevented everything that was going to happen. Fun fact, I actually, my friend Justin, who loves this movie very much, he told me that there was an alternate ending that was filmed with Sarah in like really bad old lady makeup, and it shows her in a park watching older John Connors pushing his kid on a swing set. And that would have been even better to watch. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think that ending would have been like cherry on top, chef's kiss, mwah, done. But I'm sure that they were like, let's keep it a little open-ended in case we want to make more movies, which they did. Should they? Probably not, but they did. But for me, I think that the ending was fine. I liked that it gives you as the audience the imagination to create your own future for this family and this world, and feel confident that Skynet is no longer a threat. So that's Terminator 2. I loved it. I loved every second of it. And we're just gonna get to the rating right now because I'm that excited about it. It's 2 thumbs up. Highest rating I can have right now. 2 thumbs up. Chef's kiss. Maybe that is my new high rating. 2 thumbs up and a chef's kiss. It was awesome. I mean, all of you told me that Terminator 2 is where it was at. Like, I heard it from Justin. I heard it from my boyfriend. I heard it from my vocal coach, Carly. I heard it from a few other friends of mine. I heard it from some of you who've left comments on the first Terminator review, and you guys were not wrong. Terminator 2 is where it is at. It is so good. I love it. It was everything that I was lacking in the first one, because if you remember my review of the first movie, I was like, I still feel like there's information that I do not have and I want it. And in this second movie, I got it. Even though I know that there's other movies that come after this that definitely create some questions for me, like, what did they not destroy? What's going on? Why was Skynet actually not destroyed? Like, but you gotta ignore some of that jargon at times. For me, Terminator 1 and 2 are like a perfect duo movie that just, like, I had questions in the first movie that were not answered, and then they made the second one that was so exciting and thrilling and emotional and lovely, and they answered the questions. Besides just knowing about other things, like, if they didn't make any other Terminator movies, I would not have as many questions, to be honest. I would be perfectly content. But it was so good, you guys. I mean, thank you for telling me that this is where it was at, because I don't think I would have reviewed this one if everyone didn't push it. Thank you for pushing it, because it was really good. So worth the watch. If you listen to this review and you haven't watched it, please just go do yourself a favor. It's really good. If you haven't seen the first one, I recommend that one too. It's really good. It's a really good movie, but the second one is so good. Just so good. I just loved it. It gave me all the feels. Thanks for coming by, Pod Squad. I really appreciate all of the support that you guys give me on my reviews, on my podcast, on my real-time reaction videos. Just thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I look forward to the next review. Don't know what it will be yet, but if you stick around, I'm sure it'll be something fun. Again, please like, subscribe, comment. I always try to get back to all the comments, but just, keep interacting. I definitely love to see it, and I will do my best to interact back with you guys. But I will see you next time for the next movie review, Pod Squad. Until then, bye!